Did you know that a marine being can challenge the very concept of death and rebirth? Imagine a creature that, instead of simply disappearing, reverts to a juvenile stage when faced with difficulties. That's exactly what the jellyfish does, and the story behind this transformation is as fascinating as it is surprising. In today's video, we are going to explore the mysteries and wonders of jellyfish, revealing how they manage to reinvent themselves and survive in an unforgiving world. If you're curious to discover how this fantastic ability of immortality works and how these marine beings play a crucial role in the balance of our oceans, keep watching. Get ready for a journey of discoveries that will change the way you see the ocean and its inhabitants. Let's dive together into this impressive story. Imagine the depths of the ocean, a place where sunlight barely reaches, where silence is broken only by the distant sound of underwater currents. It is in this mysterious world that the story of one of the most enigmatic creatures on Earth begins, the jellyfish. But, contrary to what many think, it does not emerge already floating with its elegant tentacles at the mercy of the tides. No, its journey begins in a much humbler way, almost imperceptible to the human eye. At the bottom of the ocean, between the cracks of a rock or the curves of a coral, a small polyp forms. It is so tiny that, even if someone were there, they would need a magnifying glass to see it. At first glance, it seems to be just another small bump in the vast marine landscape, but inside this small being, there is the potential for an extraordinary transformation. This polyp doesn't move. It is fixed, almost like a plant rooted in the ocean floor. As the currents pass by, the polyp nourishes itself, capturing small organisms that float around it. It is discreet, almost invisible, but it is alive and in constant preparation for something grand. Its existence, however small it may seem, is the first step toward the emergence of a jellyfish. While the polyp slowly grows, it accumulates energy, waiting for the right moment for its great metamorphosis. What many do not know is that this phase is just the beginning of a cycle that has repeated for millions of years, a biological dance that ensures the survival of the species in the vast ocean. The seafloor may seem quiet and peaceful, but it is full of life and small stories like this one, waiting to be told. In time, the polyp begins to prepare for change. It divides, almost as if multiplying, generating small parts of itself that, one day, will break off. This division is the first sign that something magical is about to happen. Each piece of this polyp will give rise to a new creature, a young jellyfish, ready to float freely in the vast waters of the ocean. This is the beginning of a fascinating cycle, which begins in the silence of the ocean floor, amid rocks and corals, and will soon expand into the ocean currents. The small polyp is the beginning of a journey that will reveal one of the most incredible and mysterious creatures in the ocean. Now that the small polyp is firmly anchored at the bottom of the ocean, living silently among the rocks and corals, something surprising begins to happen. It's as if the polyp hears the ocean's call, an invisible force saying, "It's time to grow." And then, a slow yet fascinating transformation begins. This little polyp, which until now was fixed to the bottom, begins to divide, almost as if creating copies of itself. But it's not just any division. It's the beginning of a metamorphosis, an extraordinary process that will take it from a simple, immobile form to something that, soon, will be able to move freely through the vast waters of the ocean. Small segments begin to form in its structure, and, one by one, each piece comes to life. Each of these new parts of the polyp develops into a young jellyfish, called an ephora. The ephora is the initial stage of a jellyfish, a young and delicate version just beginning its journey. It is very small, almost translucent, but it already has the first signs of what will make it a magnificent creature in the ocean. As these segments break off from the polyp, it's as if each one is a new birth. One by one, the small fragments detach and begin to float, slowly, in the marine currents. At this point, the ephora is little more than a small disc with tiny tentacles around its body, but it is already prepared to face the vast ocean around it. Each ephora, although originating from the same source, is unique. They float side by side, but each follows its own path, navigating the ocean currents in search of microscopic food. Here, the young jellyfish begins to explore the world around it, moving gracefully with rhythmic pulses of its body, almost as if it were dancing in the water. This initial phase is crucial for its growth. Although still small, the Ephra already has the ability to capture tiny organisms, which will be its source of energy for the next stage of its development. What's incredible about this process is its simplicity and complexity at the same time. From a creature stuck at the bottom of the sea, the polyp divides into several Ephras, which now have the freedom to swim and float. Each of them is, in fact, a new life, ready to discover the ocean. And the most interesting part? This cycle of division can generate dozens of young jellyfish from a single polyp, ensuring that jellyfish continue to populate the ocean. Now, the Ephras are just the beginning. They will continue to grow, feed, and evolve. But this moment of metamorphosis is special. It is the first step toward an incredible life in the depths of the ocean, where the simplicity of an immobile polyp transforms into a complex creature, floating elegantly through the currents, participating in the vast marine ecosystem. And so, each Ephra writes its own story in the salty waters of the ocean, where one day it will no longer be a small and fragile creature, becoming the majestic jellyfish we know, gliding between the waves with its undulating tentacles, illuminated by the lights filtering from the surface. And so, the small Ephra, which was once just a tiny fragment of the polyp attached to the ocean floor, begins to transform into something larger, something truly fascinating. Day after day, it feeds, grows, and changes until, finally, its shape starts to take on that familiar appearance. That of a jellyfish, the classic creature that glides gracefully through the sea. At this point, it is no longer that fragile young Ephra, but a creature that seems to bloom in the ocean currents. Its tentacles, which were once small and nearly invisible, now extend outward from its translucent body like fine threads of silk, gently waving with the movement of the water. Its main body, that gelatinous, rounded bell, pulses with an almost hypnotic rhythm, as if perfectly in tune with the ocean surrounding it. It doesn't swim hurriedly, but rather with a serenity that only the sea can provide. The blossoming of a jellyfish is something almost magical. As it grows, the jellyfish does not fight against the currents but becomes part of them, moving with the rhythm of the ocean. Each pulse of its body propels it forward, but in truth, it allows itself to be carried by the tides, passively exploring the vast and deep waters. It is like a dancer merging with the stage, becoming part of the performance. And this performance repeats every day, as it silently glides through the oceans, invisible to many but essential to the balance of the waters. The curious thing is that, even with all its delicate and fragile appearance, the jellyfish plays a crucial role in the marine ecosystem. As it floats, its long tentacles are powerful weapons, equipped with stinging cells that, at the slightest contact with other organisms, can release toxins to capture prey. Small fish, larvae, and even other invertebrates become its meals. But despite its ability to hunt, the jellyfish does not behave like an aggressive predator. It simply floats, allowing its victims to come to it. As it navigates through shallower or deeper waters, the jellyfish encounters a myriad of marine creatures. Some are so small they can barely be seen, while others are enormous, like the majestic whales passing in the distance. But the jellyfish continues its path, silent and calm, an eternal traveler in the ocean currents. And there's something even more fascinating about it. The jellyfish is an ancient creature. It has been swimming in the oceans for hundreds of millions of years, long before dinosaurs walked the earth. During this long time, jellyfish have adapted and survived the drastic changes on the planet. They are true survivors, witnesses to entire eras of the world's history. Now, as a mature medusa, this jellyfish is part of the vast and mysterious world of the ocean. It explores the waters in a unique way, letting itself be carried by the currents, acting both as a silent hunter and a peaceful traveler. The blossoming of a jellyfish is more than just a physical transformation. It is a testament to its resilience and beauty, and to how life can flourish in the deepest and most unknown corners of the earth. And so, it continues its journey through the ocean, invisible to many who swim on the surface, but always present, gliding softly through the currents that have been its home since the beginning of time. Now that the jellyfish floats freely through the waters, with its smooth and elegant movements, it carries with it a deadly secret: its poisonous tentacles. At first glance, a jellyfish seems like a delicate, almost fragile creature, with its translucent form and graceful movements. However, this serene appearance hides an extremely effective system of defense and hunting, essential for its survival in the vast and competitive marine world. Its tentacles, thin and almost invisible from a distance, are covered with thousands of special cells called cnidocytes. Inside each cnidocyte, there is a capsule with a small, sharp dart ready to be fired at the slightest touch. These darts contain a powerful toxin that immobilizes any small creature unlucky enough to come into contact with them. Small fish, larvae, and other marine invertebrates don't stand a chance. Within seconds, they are paralyzed and captured by the jellyfish. Imagine this. As it floats, its tentacles act like silent nets, gliding through the water as the currents carry it along. When a prey touches one of its tentacles, the cnidocyte is triggered. Like a perfect trap, the dart is fired with impressive speed, releasing the venom that paralyzes the victim. Once captured, the prey is slowly brought to the main body of the jellyfish, where it will be digested and turned into energy to sustain its journey through the depths. But the jellyfish's venomous tentacles are not just for hunting. They are also its primary defense against predators. In the vast ocean, where the law of the strongest prevails, a creature that seems so vulnerable needs a powerful weapon to survive. The tentacles act as a protective barrier. When threatened by larger fish or other hunters, the jellyfish can use its tentacles to discourage or even injure its attackers. A jellyfish sting can be painful even for the largest marine predators, and many quickly learn to keep their distance from these seemingly fragile beings. What makes this survival skill even more fascinating is that the jellyfish does not need to actively hunt. It does not chase its prey like other marine predators do. Instead, it takes advantage of the movement of the currents and luck. Its prey comes to it, swimming unknowingly toward its tentacles. It is a form of passive hunting, but incredibly effective. Although jellyfish toxins are extremely efficient against their prey, it is interesting to note that not all jellyfish possess toxins dangerous to humans. However, some species, like the dreaded Australian box jellyfish, have one of the most lethal toxins known. The venom of this species can cause paralysis and even death in a matter of minutes, demonstrating the power that these seemingly simple creatures can possess. Jellyfish are, without a doubt, masters of survival. Their weapons, almost invisible to the naked eye, are capable of ensuring both their nourishment and protection. Over the millions of years of their existence, they have perfected the art of capturing and defending themselves, ensuring that, even in a marine world full of threats, they continue to thrive. Thus, with each movement, the jellyfish demonstrates combined beauty and lethality. A creature as ancient as the oceans, it has survived for ages without needing to adapt aggressively, but with its silent weapons, it has mastered the art of survival in a vast and unforgiving environment. Imagine the silence of the ocean depths, where sunlight never reaches, and the darkness seems infinite. In this mysterious and nearly impenetrable environment, something extraordinary happens. A dance of bright lights cuts through the darkness, as if small stars were floating beneath the waters. This spectacle does not come from the sky, but from jellyfish, creatures that, besides being graceful, have the ability to create their own light, a phenomenon known as bioluminescence. For many species of jellyfish, glowing in the dark is not just a fascinating curiosity. It is a matter of survival. In a part of the ocean where human eyes cannot see, the jellyfish becomes a living lantern, and this glow serves several purposes. Some species use the light to ward off predators, in a light show that confuses and intimidates approaching hunters. Others, cleverly, use the same glow to attract unsuspecting prey, which swim toward the light without realizing they are entering a trap. This ability to emit light comes from a natural chemical reaction. Within the specialized cells of the jellyfish, known as photophores, proteins called luciferanes combine with oxygen, producing the characteristic glow. The result is a cold light, which can range from blue to green, creating an enchanting atmosphere in the ocean depths. The glow is soft, yet intense enough to cut through the surrounding total darkness. It is as if the jellyfish is floating in its own illuminated universe, commanding the attention of all around it. But why would a creature that already has venomous tentacles need a light display? The answer lies in the versatility of bioluminescence. In a world where predators and prey are constantly playing the game of life and death, every advantage counts. For the jellyfish, the light can function as an alarm signal triggered in moments of danger. By glowing unexpectedly, it can confuse an approaching predator, giving it time to escape with a light movement of the currents. At the same time, this light is also a hunting tool. Small fish and other marine invertebrates, attracted by the glow, swim toward the jellyfish, believing the light might be a food source or simply driven by natural curiosity. When they get too close, they encounter tentacles ready to capture them. It is an ingenious strategy, combining the beauty of the glow with the lethal efficiency of its capture. There is yet another intriguing function of bioluminescence: communication. In some species of jellyfish, the pattern of blinking lights can serve as a signal to other jellyfish of the same species. This could be a way of gathering for reproduction or even protecting themselves in larger numbers, confusing predators with a synchronized light display. The jellyfish also uses its bioluminescence to navigate its environment. In regions where visibility is almost nil, the glow can help it map its way through the ocean, guiding itself along coral reefs and rock formations. And so, as it floats through the depths, the jellyfish becomes a moving spectacle, a luminous dancer that shines not only to protect itself, but also to illuminate the mysteries of a world few of us know. For those observing, perhaps from a submarine or through rare deep-sea footage, it is like witnessing ancient magic, a natural beauty that transcends time. This phenomenon makes us reflect on how the ocean, vast and unknown, hides life forms that challenge our understanding of what is possible. Bioluminescence is a reminder that, even in the darkest and most isolated corners of the planet, nature has found incredibly sophisticated ways to adapt, survive, and, above all, shine. In the vast ocean, where everything seems to depend on sharp senses and complex body structures, the jellyfish stands out in a unique and mysterious way. Did you know that this creature, which floats so gracefully through the currents, has no brain, heart, or bones? And yet, it survives, hunts, and escapes predators. How is that possible? That is the magic of jellyfish, a simplicity that hides surprising complexity. The body of the jellyfish may seem, at first glance, fragile and lacking in many resources. After all, its structure is composed of more than 95% water, and its gelatinous form appears delicate, almost transparent. However, this creature possesses a primitive nervous network called a diffuse neural network, which runs throughout its body, primarily distributed across the surface of the bell, that dome-shaped part that characterizes it. This simple yet efficient system is enough to control all of its vital functions. But how does this work? Instead of having a centralized brain like ours, the jellyfish has a set of sensory cells scattered across its body that are capable of instantly reacting to environmental stimuli. These cells are primarily located along its tentacles and the edge of the bell. When something touches its tentacles, this nervous network detects the change, triggering a quick reaction, often the release of its cnidocytes, those stinging cells used to capture prey or defend itself. And although it doesn't have eyes in the traditional sense, many jellyfish possess photoreceptors, which are able to distinguish between light and darkness. With this ability, they can orient themselves in the ocean depths, rising and descending in the water columns depending on light conditions, as if they were following the natural rhythm of marine life. The jellyfish's reaction capability is also extremely efficient. Thanks to its simple structure, it can respond almost immediately to changes in its environment. When a predator approaches or when a current pushes it to an unfamiliar place, it reacts quickly, adjusting its movements, often with a simple pulse of the bell, which works like a natural propeller. It is as if the jellyfish's entire body were a living sensor, adjusting and adapting to the environment in real time. Another fascinating aspect of this simplicity is regeneration. If a jellyfish loses part of its tentacles in an encounter with a predator, or if its body is partially damaged, it can regenerate within a few weeks. This is because its cells are extremely specialized in rebuilding lost parts, ensuring that it continues its journey through the ocean as if nothing had happened. But the jellyfish does not rely solely on automatic reactions. Some species, such as the famous Turritopsis dohrnii, have the ability to rejuvenate when faced with adverse conditions. This means that instead of dying like most living beings, they can revert to the polyp stage and begin their life cycle again. This is possible thanks to the flexibility of their cells, which can reprogram themselves and return to the juvenile stage, a process known as cellular transdifferentiation. It is as if the jellyfish could escape death and return to youth whenever necessary, a true biological mystery. Thus, the simplicity of the jellyfish, far from being a limitation, is its greatest strength. Without the need for a brain to coordinate its functions, it navigates the ocean with silent efficiency, adjusting almost perfectly to the environment in which it lives. Its body, though basic in appearance, hides secrets that scientists are still trying to unravel. This creature, which has existed for more than 500 million years, is proof that life does not need to be complex to be effective. It shows how nature, in all its diversity, finds simple and ingenious solutions to the challenges of survival. And it is this complex simplicity that makes the jellyfish one of the most intriguing creatures on our planet. Imagine a creature capable of evading death. Yes, you heard right. Among the vast mysteries of the ocean, there is a species of jellyfish that defies the rules of nature and biology, Turritopsis dohrnii, also known as the immortal jellyfish. While all life forms on the planet follow an inevitable cycle of birth, growth, aging, and death, this small creature has found a way to escape that fate and, in a way, live forever. The story of Turritopsis dohrnii begins like that of any other jellyfish, with a small polyp on the ocean floor. It grows, transforms into an ephora, and finally develops into its adult stage, known as a medusa. This is where the magic happens. Unlike other species that live their days until the body finally succumbs to age or predators, Turritopsis has a secret hidden deep within its cells. When this jellyfish faces adverse situations, such as hunger, injury, or extreme environmental conditions, it has an extraordinary ability to revert to its juvenile state. That's right. Instead of dying, Turritopsis reverses its life cycle, transforming back into a polyp. This process, called transdifferentiation, is like a butterfly turning back into a caterpillar. Imagine a human being turning back into a baby instead of aging. It's such a surreal idea that it seems like something out of a science fiction movie. But in the world of this jellyfish, it's real. To better understand, think of the body of Turritopsis as something extremely adaptable. Its cells, instead of following a single function, can transform into other types of cells. This cellular trick allows it to literally rejuvenate, and it is not a one-time event. Whenever this jellyfish encounters an obstacle that threatens its survival, it initiates this miraculous process, avoiding death and starting its life over again. This unique ability makes it biologically immortal. Of course, this does not mean it is invincible. Turritopsis can still be eaten by predators or succumb to diseases, but as long as these external factors don't affect it, it has the incredible ability to live indefinitely. In controlled conditions, this jellyfish could, theoretically, live forever. The discovery of this biological immortality caused a great stir in the scientific community. Researchers worldwide began studying Turritopsis to understand the mechanism behind this extraordinary capability. After all, what this jellyfish does naturally is something humanity has always dreamed of achieving: defeating aging. Beyond scientific curiosity, the existence of this creature leads us to reflect on the wonders of the natural world. On a planet as vast as ours, there are still so many creatures with abilities that defy everything we know about life. Turritopsis dohrnii teaches us that, even in the deepest and most mysterious places in the ocean, nature continues to surprise us with its creative solutions for survival. The next time you look at the ocean, remember that hidden among the waves may be a creature that has lived for hundreds of years, restarting its life indefinitely, in a constant dance between youth and maturity. We may never know how long one of these jellyfish has lived or how far its regenerative abilities can take it. But one thing is certain: Turritopsis dohrnii is a reminder that life, in all its forms, still has many secrets to reveal. And so, this small and seemingly insignificant jellyfish becomes a true symbol of eternity, swimming freely through the seas, repeating its life cycle while the rest of us continue along the natural path of existence. Fascinating, isn't it? In the vast and deep ocean, where life seems to arise from every corner, jellyfish play a peculiar and fascinating role. These creatures, which have existed for millions of years, possess a unique ability to adapt to environmental changes. However, in modern times, they have faced new challenges that did not exist in their distant past: pollution and global warming. Nevertheless, instead of succumbing to these threats, jellyfish resist and thrive, often becoming the dominant species in some regions of the oceans, while other organisms struggle to survive. The resilience of jellyfish lies in their simplicity. Without a heart, brain, or complex nervous system, they function with an extremely efficient biological mechanism, allowing them to survive in conditions that would be impossible for other marine creatures. And this, in the context of increasing pollution in the seas, places them in a unique position. Let's imagine a scenario where the ocean is saturated with plastic debris, chemicals, and industrial waste. Marine life, which depends on healthy ecosystems, suffers drastically. Coral reefs, essential for ocean health, are dying due to bleaching caused by warming waters. Fish and other animals become poisoned or trapped in plastic nets. But jellyfish? They continue to thrive. This happens because jellyfish do not rely as much on dissolved oxygen in the water. Unlike many fish, they also have the ability to withstand drastic changes in salinity and temperature, traits that have become more common with global warming. Moreover, with the destruction of natural predators and the decline of other species, they find themselves in a less competitive environment, where they can reproduce quickly and in large numbers. There is another interesting factor. Pollution can even favor jellyfish. Some of them feed on plankton, which often proliferates in waters contaminated by nutrients leaking from urban and agricultural areas. This plankton explosion creates a veritable feast for jellyfish, which, instead of being harmed by pollution, feed on what the environmental chaos provides. In some parts of the world, the jellyfish population has grown so much that it causes phenomena known as blooms or population explosions. Imagine vast areas of the ocean, completely dominated by these translucent creatures, floating like silent ghosts in the currents. This phenomenon is a direct reflection of how these creatures have adapted to a world where many other species can no longer thrive. But not everything is just a story of resilience. The uncontrolled proliferation of jellyfish also brings problems. In some cases, they have become invasive, occupying areas where they previously did not exist. These population explosions can harm commercial fishing, as large quantities of jellyfish can destroy nets and even choke boat engines. They also compete with fish for food and, in some cases, even feed on the eggs and larvae of species that are struggling to survive. In a kind of tragic irony, jellyfish, which seem harmless, end up becoming indirect predators and hindering the recovery of marine ecosystems. Moreover, there are reports of coastal power plants being forced to shut down operations because large numbers of jellyfish block the water intakes used for cooling. These situations show that, although they are resilient and adaptable, jellyfish can also be agents of change in their environments, affecting not only marine life but also human activities. But what does this mean for the future of the oceans? The proliferation of jellyfish is a warning about the state of our seas. They thrive where other forms of life struggle to survive, which reveals an alarming imbalance in marine ecosystems. Their population explosions are signs that ocean conditions are changing, and not for the better. And so, this creature, which at first glance seems so fragile, reveals a surprising complexity. The jellyfish, with its stinging tentacles and almost transparent body, has become an unexpected symbol of adaptation in a changing world. As we continue to pollute and warm our oceans, jellyfish will keep showing us the power of resilience and simplicity in the face of adversity. In the end, its story is not just about survival, but also a warning. If we continue to treat our seas carelessly, we may one day find an ocean dominated by these enigmatic creatures, while the species we once knew and depended on slowly disappear. In this context, the jellyfish becomes a mirror reflecting the impact our actions are having on the vast and fragile ocean ecosystems. In the vast seascape, where every living being plays an essential role, jellyfish are often seen as simple and even strange creatures. With their gelatinous bodies and slow movements, they seem to float aimlessly in the depths. However, behind this apparent simplicity, these fascinating creatures play a vital role in maintaining the balance of marine ecosystems, creating invisible connections that sustain the complex web of life in the ocean. Jellyfish, with their delicate yet venomous tentacles, are agile predators in their aquatic habitat. They hunt small fish, zooplankton, and crustaceans, capturing them with their tentacles filled with stinging cells, known as cnidocytes. These almost silent predators, by feeding, help control the populations of their prey, preventing certain organisms from becoming overly abundant. Without jellyfish, the balance of these populations could spiral out of control, damaging the entire food chain. On the other hand, jellyfish are not just predators. They also serve as prey for various marine animals. Sea turtles, for example, rely on jellyfish as an important food source. They feed on these translucent beings with great efficiency, being one of the few creatures unaffected by the venom of their tentacles. For some species of turtles, the increase in jellyfish populations is a true feast. In addition to turtles, sunfish, known as the largest bony fish in the world, also feed on jellyfish. These gentle giants of the seas need to consume large amounts of jellyfish daily to maintain their massive bodies. In this way, jellyfish provide a crucial link between different levels of the oceanic food chain. But these creatures play an even more surprising role. In some parts of the ocean, certain small fish, such as juvenile fish of various species, use jellyfish as a sort of floating shelter. These fish hide among the jellyfish's tentacles to escape larger predators, knowing that by sheltering there, they are protected by this natural shield of venom. Thus, jellyfish, which at other times are predators, also act as a kind of refuge for some more vulnerable species. But the role of jellyfish in the ecosystem goes beyond what can be seen at first glance. When these creatures die, their decomposing bodies become a rich source of nutrients for various organisms at the ocean floor. Small crustaceans, bacteria, and even some species of marine worms depend on the organic matter left behind by jellyfish for survival. In this way, jellyfish continue to contribute to the ecosystem even after their death, nourishing the base of the oceanic food chain. There is also another fascinating aspect of jellyfish. Their presence in different parts of the ocean can serve as an indicator of the health of the marine environment. In areas where pollution and global warming are drastically affecting fish and coral populations, jellyfish become more abundant, signaling that the ecological balance has been disrupted. They are, therefore, the sentinels of the ocean, alerting us to climate change and the impact of human activity on the seas. Interestingly, the interactions of jellyfish with the ecosystem go beyond ocean borders. Some scientists believe that jellyfish blooms, those population explosions that can occur at certain times of the year, have a direct effect on global food chains. When jellyfish proliferate in large numbers, they can quickly consume vast amounts of zooplankton and small fish, affecting the entire food chain above them, including top predators like sharks, dolphins, and even whales. Thus, a jellyfish bloom in one specific part of the ocean can trigger a domino effect that spreads throughout the marine ecosystem, influencing even the behavior of species living thousands of kilometers away. These creatures, which seem to drift aimlessly, connect different parts of the ocean in subtle but extremely important ways. Whether as predators, prey, shelter, or a food source after death, jellyfish maintain the balance of the marine ecosystem, playing an essential role in its health and survival. Finally, jellyfish teach us that, in nature, even the simplest creatures can have deeply complex functions. They are a reminder that life in the ocean is interconnected in ways we do not always perceive at first glance. As they float peacefully in the currents, jellyfish work tirelessly to maintain the delicate balance of the oceanic ecosystem, proving that in the natural world, every being, no matter how small or simple it may seem, is part of a much larger and more interdependent web than we can imagine. And so, these seemingly fragile creatures reveal themselves as fundamental pieces in one of the planet's most complex systems. The jellyfish, with its disarming simplicity, shows us that the true complexity of the ocean is often found in the smallest and most unexpected things, allowing the story of these fascinating creatures to continue shining in the vast and mysterious blue of the ocean. Imagine a vast, deep blue and mysterious ocean where luminous creatures float in a slow and graceful dance. Among these wonders of the sea, jellyfish stand out not only for their ephemeral beauty, but also for the incredible life cycle they embody. And in the great theater of marine life, the end of a jellyfish's existence is not really an end, but a continuous renewal, where the cycle begins again in a spectacle of rebirth and survival. As a jellyfish approaches the end of its life, its body is no longer as vibrant as before. The colors that once glowed intensely begin to fade, and the energy that once propelled it across vast distances starts to wane. This is a crucial moment and, paradoxically, one of the most significant in the life of this fascinating being. The closing of the cycle is, in fact, the introduction of a new phase for the next generation. After reproduction, which may involve the release of millions of eggs and sperm into the water, the adult jellyfish prepares for its natural end. This final phase may seem like an anticlimax, but it is actually a prelude to an incredible and continuous life cycle. Jellyfish usually die after fulfilling their reproductive purpose, leaving behind a legacy in the form of eggs and larvae, which are the seeds of the next cycle. These eggs and larvae, as they disperse in the waters, mark the first steps of what could be a new life for a jellyfish. They float and develop, eventually settling on the ocean floor or on underwater structures like corals and rocks. It is here, in the silence and tranquility of the depths, that the jellyfish's life cycle begins anew. What seemed to be an end is actually the starting point for the creation of new lives. The renewal process begins with the eggs transforming into polyps, small and almost invisible, which attach to substrates like rocks and corals. These polyps, with their simple appearance, are far from passive creatures. They are, in fact, an essential and vital stage in the jellyfish life cycle, ready to divide and eventually transform into new medusae. And so, the young jellyfish, known as an ephora, begins its journey, a new version of the old one. Each segment of the polyp develops and detaches, initiating the transformation into a young medusa. The delicate appearance and form these new beings take on promise that the life cycle is perpetuating. They will grow, explore, and eventually reproduce, restarting the cycle once again. Some jellyfish species, like Turritopsis dohrnii, take this concept of renewal to an even more intriguing level. Known as the immortal jellyfish, this species has the unique ability to reverse its life cycle. When faced with adverse conditions or aging, they can transform back into polyps, returning to a juvenile state. This phenomenon is almost like a natural time machine, allowing the jellyfish to escape death and restart its journey from the beginning. The cycle does not close. It resets, perpetuating its existence in a mysterious and almost eternal way. So, when we observe a jellyfish swimming slowly through the ocean, the beauty of its journey is not just in what we see. Each movement, each glow of its bioluminescence, and each moment of its existence is part of an eternal cycle that begins and restarts. What seems like the end for one jellyfish is, in fact, the beginning of something new. A cycle that restarts with each new generation, perpetuating the wonder and mystery of jellyfish in the depths of the ocean. This fascinating journey reminds us that, in nature, life and death are intertwined in an endless cycle of renewal. Jellyfish, with their simplicity and complexity, beautifully illustrate how life can be both an ending and a beginning, an eternal cycle that continues to fascinate and inspire us. As we come to the end of our journey through the enchanting universe of jellyfish, it is impossible not to marvel at the complexity and beauty of these mysterious beings. From the fragile beginning of a polyp on the ocean floor to the dazzling spectacle of bioluminescence in the deep sea, each phase of a jellyfish's life is a testament to resilience, renewal, and adaptation. Jellyfish, with their ability to transform, their capacity to shine in the depths, and their vital role in marine ecosystems, show us how life can be incredibly adaptable and beautiful. Even without a brain, heart, or bones, they survive and thrive, challenging our ideas about complexity and simplicity in nature. The story of the jellyfish is more than just the chronicle of a marine animal. It is a lesson about resilience and the wonder of life. Each life cycle that restarts is proof that, even in the face of challenges and change, life finds ways to renew itself and continue. It is a narrative that reminds us of the interconnectedness of all living beings and the importance of protecting our oceans, which are home to so many incredible creatures. If you enjoyed learning about the secrets and mysteries of jellyfish with us, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to receive all updates about our next videos. Leave a comment below about which part of the jellyfish's journey fascinated you the most, or suggest the next animal you'd like to learn about. Your opinion is essential to us and helps us create content that you truly love. Thank you for diving into this ocean of knowledge with us. Until the next adventure,